Michael Seaton, who got his head on it. Bias punched away by Cervantes.
Able to reach his left hand back, gets enough of it to keep it out, does the 17-year-old.
Aaron Cervantes is one of the most enticing, exciting prospects in the USL Championship. Still only 18 years old, barely 18 years old. Signed with Orange County at 15 years old, pro debut at 17 years old. Aaron, thanks for taking time. A true, honest lad jumping on with us.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Aaron, let's start with this. I asked you about it before and obviously want to follow up with the pandemic going on. You've sort of told me you're safe, but your mom's an RN and your dad's a police officer. So for one, grateful to them for their service, but also it sounds like your family's doing okay with everything in Southern California right now.
Yeah, everything's safe in my house right now. It's just people are still going out. I mean, we're just doing our part, just staying inside, you know?
Yeah, I'm in New York City. I feel it. I totally get it. You sign a contract at 15. I've seen a lot of different roads into the pro game, but in the United States, this is becoming more common, but at a time was very rare. Describe sort of your road to being a starting caliber goalkeeper in a professional league before you were old enough to buy a lottery ticket.
Right. Yeah. So I signed when I was 15, obviously, and the first season I didn't get too many minutes. It was more of a experience and opening up to professional life and stuff. But the second year I got more minutes, and then this year, obviously, with what's going on right now, I only got the start of the season opener, but it's definitely been exciting since I've signed.
What was, you kind of say getting used to it, was there a, oh my God, these are pros, these are grown men, these are guys fighting to feed a family moment? Did that ever come to you?
I mean, it's definitely more intense. The bar's set a lot higher than it is, say, in the DA or, you know, coming up when you're younger and stuff. It's more of a job, a lifestyle, like my coach says. And yeah, I mean, that's basically what it is.
I spoke to Tyler Adams when he was a player for Red Bull 2 when they won the title in 16. I spoke with Mallory Pugh, who was doing biology homework while playing for the U.S. women's national team. As a teenager, you have a totally different circumstance surrounding how you travel, how you play, where you stay, what you do. Describe to me sort of how you manage all these different pieces to being a professional when most of us are trying to figure out if someone's going to take them into college or, you know, that they could even get a scholarship offer or whatever. Not that I get a scholarship offer, of course.
Right. I mean, I just look at it as a job, and I just try to take everything as professional as possible. It was definitely a big step, as I said, going from DA to the USL. I mean, being a pro. I think it's hard sometimes, like being around older dudes and having to be able to adapt to that, and just always like having my bar set like up here, you know.
Yeah. When you talk about treating it like a job, at what point was it clear to you? I read you started playing when you were 4. When did you know this is what I want to do with my career?
And probably when I started playing when I was 4.
Were you a goalkeeper the whole way?
Well, I was playing AYSO, and they didn't have a goalie, and my dad was the coach, and my dad basically told me to just jump in the net. So I was like, all right, and then never really moved since then.
Is that a statement of your dad, this kid can't dribble very well, or he's adept with his hands? Why did he decide you had to be the one to take that abuse?
Nobody else wanted to play goalie. He's going to throw his son in there.
Well, hey, it worked out, I suppose. You talk about the DA, the big, I think, national soccer news outside of COVID-19 is tangentially related, in that it was one of the reasons they said that they were going to shutter the DA. I've spoken to Braden and to Oliver. They've coached around it and been around it. You played in it. try and describe to me, you've been with an MLS affiliated team, a independent high level DA club. You've been with Orange County to the back end of your development in your pro career. Sort of describe what it means to you that they've sort of taken a different approach, a different direction to the DA moving forward.
Yeah, definitely. The DA is a great place to develop players, and MLS Academies is another great place. Galaxy is just the facilities there and just the training there was really good. And then transitioning towards Pats was also great, just getting games and stuff. And then when I signed in the USL, I think that was the biggest jump and biggest thing for me for my development, because I got games and I got to see different situations with bigger and more athletic men, you know?
Yeah. How important is it to you that there is, not that an MLS team couldn't have signed you as a homegrown, but that there is a very clear edict from the organization? We will develop young players. We will move them into a position to succeed here and beyond.
Right. I mean, I think the most important thing for a player, and especially a young goalkeeper, is you got to get games so you can see different situations and you can get experience, you know? I mean, no one wants an experienced goalkeeper with no matches, you know, especially if he's young.
With the DA shutting down, obviously it wasn't so long ago, do you remember sort of the first thought that went through your mind? You saw a tweet or someone called you or texted you or whatever?
Yeah,
do you
definitely.
sort of remember where you were and what crossed your mind?
Yeah, I had one of my buddies call me from Galaxy. Actually, he's pretty bummed out because, I mean, all these guys still have to have like colleges go see and play their games and stuff. I mean, that's a big thing for a lot of players if it's their last year playing academy, you know?
What do you think the next step is for development? Maybe this is more macro than you want to get into, but do you sort of have thoughts on what you think is a good pathway? Do you think partnering with a professional club is the right approach? Do you think the independent nature of an organization like Pats, where you can get a lot of games in and maybe their mentality is a little different, where's your head at in terms of all that?
I mean, I'm definitely pleased with where the U.S. is taking the game. It's improved from a lot since a couple of years, you know. But yeah, I mean, games isn't everything, you know, but it's a lot. It's the mentality these guys go into the games. A club isn't going to make a player. I mean, it's kind of hard to explain. I'm trying to think. You got to have a certain mentality as a player.
This right now, I think everyone's going like, it's hard to put this to words.
Yeah. No, the player has to have a certain mentality going into whatever club they're, like Zlatan, you know. Zlatan came into MLS and he totally ripped it up, you know. He's the same thing he's been doing for 20 years. He has a certain mentality. Yeah.
Everything goes back to Zlatan.
Zlatan.
Aaron Cervantes joining us, the outstanding 18-year-old goalkeeper, started week 1 of the USL Championship season, which is now on pause due to the ongoing coronavirus, COVID-19 pandemic nationwide. When you signed, Oliver Weiss described your maturity as a major key to potential success at that age. You were one of the youngest players signed in league history at the time, so try and describe to me what the earliest days of that relationship were like as you and your parents have to sit there and decide, is this the best thing for me moving forward, professional contract now?
Right. I mean, when the contract came across the table, me and my parents had to have like a long conversation talking about college and, just possible different options and stuff. And we just thought that signing with OC would be the best option for the circumstances right now. And, I mean, props to Oliver and Braden. They've promised me everything. They gave me everything they promised. I mean, they haven't cut me short with anything, and they followed through with everything that they said.
And you knew Braden going back. He said 11, maybe even 10 years old, I think. Before you were a teenager, he knew you. So in your mind, does that make you more comfortable to sort of buy what they're selling, that they're going to promise you things and then they're actually going to go out and give it?
Yeah, 100%. I've known Braden since I was a little kid at Galaxy, and I mean, I trust Braden. I trust Oliver, and yeah, I mean, I didn't have any doubts going into what I was getting into.
Everyone talks about the goalkeeper union. Everyone talks about how there's only one shirt there. So it's great that Aiden Quinn is a phenomenal leader and he can help other midfielders and other players around him. But that's because there's 9 other field players that see the field at the same time that he does.
Right.
So for you, it's Patrick McLean and Frederick Douay is there this year, and Carlos Lopez, Andre Rawls, Casey Byers. They're all older than you, and in some cases half a decade to a decade older than you are. So sort of describe what that's like for you as a young player on a pro deal. You're not just going through the motions, you're competing for their shirt, but you also recognize, hey, I can learn a lot from these guys as well.
100%. I was just gonna say that was one of the best parts of having all those goalkeepers around, was they can give me some of their wisdom of what they've picked up in the past couple of years. I mean, they've played in college. Some of them played in MLS. I just picked their mind on questions I have, and they've helped me out in the past couple of years, definitely.
What's the best piece of advice that a vet has given you?
Probably don't get too high, don't get too low with your confidence. You got to keep it right in the middle. 100%.
Is it hard to maintain that confidence? I mean, last year they bring in a veteran, which I think everyone anticipated just purely out of competition. And then Frederick Douay comes in midseason after you'd gotten a run of games. Jimmy Nielsen described him as one of the best goalkeepers in this division, in this country. How do you maintain that confidence so that when you are called upon, like week 1 this year, you're ready again and you're ready to grab the shirt and hold on to it?
Right. I just look at it as just every day that I step on the field, I got to approach it the same way. No different. I can't slack. I just gotta go through my daily routines and just trust my training, and just pretty much putting trust in everything that I've learned.
So the U.S. Youth National Team has called you up a handful of times. There was a cycle, and maybe it's still true for the age group that you're in, that you have the most pro appearances of anyone in that cycle, or at least in your position in that cycle. So for you, what does coronavirus mean for you as a pro, for you as a member of the youth national team, your own personal development? How are you trying to find ways to continue to improve when you're isolated? There's really nothing you can do with others.
Right. I mean, nothing stops. I just keep training, keep going through my daily routines, and try to do as much as I can do, ball work, reaction work, lift weights. I mean, I just try to reach my potential as much as I can.
When you heard the U.S. Youth National Team was going to essentially end the year for a little over half, I believe, their national teams, what's going through your head when you see that press release?
I'm sorry. Say that again.
There are certain youth national teams that have essentially disbanded for the remainder of this year or for the foreseeable future due to the pandemic. Olympic qualifying rosters, certainly not one of them. So the under 23s will continue. Teams that just played their CONCACAF tournament last year have largely been discontinued for the remainder of this year. I mean, what's going through your head when you're seeing these seismic shifts when you are just getting into the national team with consistency over this last year and a half?
Right. I mean, everyone's going through the same thing right now. I mean, there's not much you can do. I mean, it is what it is. That's the way I look at it. But there's definitely things you can control, and there's things you can't control. And I think I just got to keep working and just control what I can control. Yeah.
Yeah. Aaron, I'm always interested to hear goals, aspirations. You've made a dozen appearances as a pro before, like I said, you could get a lottery ticket. I don't know if you ever got around to getting a lottery ticket, but you've been a U.S. Youth International. You've played across a spectrum of youth clubs in Southern California. Where do you want to be in 10 years?
Goals always set to Europe. That's where my bar is right now, and I don't think it's going to move. I mean, Europe is that's where the highest level is for soccer.
What's the dream club? You grow up supporting a particular European club?
I mean, at the second, who would I play for at the second? You're asking?
Yeah, why not?
Probably Man City.
Are you a Man City fan?
I'm not a huge Man City fan, but I could see myself playing for Man City.
You are definitely 18 years old. 10 years ago, no one would have said that. Is that your team in FIFA?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
How'd you know?
I had a feeling,
Right on.
It's funny because our podcast is a Tottenham, a Chelsea, and a Liverpool fan, and now we're having on Man City people. It's like the world's most disgusting amalgamation of English football fans.
Right on.
Aaron, at this point, obviously appreciated chatting with you. I think you've got a great future. I'm interested to kind of close down here. If you could pick one moment that was maybe your best moment as a soccer player, it could be as a young kid, it could be now, starting opening day or winning save of the week last year or whatever. What really hits your mind is that elation that you're after?
100%. It's probably my pro debut against New Mexico. When that's definitely it. That's your first professional debut. I mean, that's every kid's dream, and it was probably one of the best feelings in the world.
Aaron, what are you watching these days? Are you only playing FIFA, or are you a Netflix guy?
I mean, I don't really watch TV shows. I watch a lot of movies and stuff.
Any recs?
What's that?
Any recommendations? We're bored here, man. We can only put out so many podcasts.
Let me ask my dad. Narcos? He likes Narcos.
Okay. Aaron, appreciate it. All the best to your mom and your dad. They're both heroes, a nurse and a police officer. We appreciate both of them, and can't wait to see you on the field again because sky's the limit for you. We're excited.
Right on. Appreciate it.